Hello, this is Dr. Tiffany Copeland. I'm coming to you from an undisclosed location. And we will cover chapter 2 in this section, which is setting up a project choosing your project settings, choose video rendering and playback settings, choose video and audio display settings, and so on. So now, if we go back to our handy dandy Premiere Pro interface, then you'll see that if we go to all the way to the media, no, not media browser, but I want the project panel. Here it is. I'm just going to move it over just a bit because I'm going to move this zoom because um, it looks like something is not really showing unless there's nothing over there. Yeah, there's just a lot here. I'll have to take out some things, but basically, here's our project panel. Now, so essentially, when you deal with Premiere Pro, you'll have project files, okay? When you save Premiere Pro, and the file extension is .pr Premiere project. So it's PRPROJ. And that project file, you can save video clips, you can save graphics, you can save sound files, you can save audio clips, um, and so on. So there's a lot that you can actually save within your file. And that's exactly what we'll be doing throughout the duration of this course. Now, some of the things that I mentioned before, I'm just going to repeat here, as I go through. And you notice that we do have our import area located right here. And when we import for the first time, it will ask us what our project name is. It'll have us set it. We did the project location. We already looked at our thumbnail size. We looked at display grid or list. We looked at the various media that we could import. And we looked at the browse media location right here. So basically, when we did all this, we eventually click create in order to create the settings. So it's just a quick review. Now, if you look, you'll see that there's also if you go over here, you should see that there's some settings that are probably a bit new, but what we can do is maybe take a look at one of them. And let's see, you got name here. Labeling, transcription. Okay, we're not going to go over transcription just yet, but you can add a new bin if you want by checking here as you open your file. Bins are something that we'll talk about in the upcoming chapter. Okay, so what is a sequence? Remember, we changed the name of the sequence to the TR. This is the little sequence thumbnail. This is the way it looks right here. And you notice that this is our sequence. We're only dealing with one sequence. But if you want to do another sequence, you could actually click here on new item and you can click the word sequence and you can type the name of the sequence. I'm going to call it sequence number 2. You notice that is showing the frame rate and uh the frames per second, and it's also showing the frame size as well. You can modify that if you need to, but it's matching the other sequence. So I'm just going to click OK. Sequence 2 is now here. So now we have two sequences, the TR, and we also have sequence number 2 listed here. So essentially we're setting up the sequences, and so we want to make sure that the frame size and all of that is pretty much the same, but it does show as whatever the original frame size is. And we did so by clicking on our new item in the menu. Okay, so we did choose all our correct presets, which was 1080p 29.97. And I think we were good to go after that. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, since we've already worked with our sequence, basically the sequence is used for bringing in another long video or something really long that you have, and you can just drag and drop it right there, and then you can keep existing settings. You can work on this in your one sequence. This is sequence two, and then you can go to sequence one and you can work on whatever it is. When you're done with sequence two, you can copy all the content over to your main sequence. But the main thing is just to do the sequence in a separate timeline so that you don't start becoming confused if there's too much showing on your screen. Okay, so let's talk about rendering. Now, if you do see a yellow line or green line, it's okay in the timeline. But if you see a red line, that's not good. That means that you actually have to render. Rendering, what it does is it creates a new temporary video file that looks like the original video combined with the visual effects or whatever it else that you have applied to that clip. So you'll be able to see the clip in the way that it will look when you export it. And we will cover more about rendering at a later time. Just want to introduce you to that topic. Now, another thing that is interesting is if you go to Premiere Pro settings, you'll see that there is, different settings that you can go through. But what we'll do is look at autosave. So you'll see that the autosave automatically saves every such and such amount of minutes, and we'll have a maximum version size of 20 per items that you're working on. So you can always change that if you need to, but it's good to know that it will automatically save once you're working within the project itself. And that is it for chapter two. So let's move on to another chapter, but we won't do so in the same video. Thanks so much for joining me again. This is Dr. Copeland coming to you from an undisclosed location. Until next time, bye-bye.